Nazis managed to tell of their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell, of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I was born in the Dublin street where the lion runs do be, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they tell come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with his chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Calway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra.
Hello there, you bastards! How are we all? I'm very well. I thank you for asking. Yes, I am. We're doing Normal Island. It was a bit last minute, as in I was contacted at like 10 this morning, so not remotely last minute, but relatively speaking last minute. So that's why I didn't tell anyone until like now, basically. But we're doing Normal Island, which is good in one respect, but it also means we're going to have to talk about murder and race riots. Yay! Anyway, yes, I'm going to go over to the room. So you're going to hear other voices potentially. Drink it in. Drink it the fuck in, people. Oh.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Gennaro, this is Britain. It's always shit, mate. Yes. Allow whilst visiting this site, I guess. Here we are. Kaboomski. Join the broadcast. Oh, I haven't even brushed my fucking hair or anything. No, might I?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on today. I'm just absolutely exhausted. Hi, Kev.
The me man.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we all?
Superb. How are you?
I am, well, as a white person, I'm oppressed.
Well, tonight we're going to be speaking all about that, how oppressed you are.
Well, finally, for once, the white man gets his voice heard.
Finally!
Finally!
Yeah. So sick of, like, people of colour's voices. I'm so sick of my own voice, actually.
Literally. Unbelievable.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
To basically give your perspective as a white person who's never heard.
Literally, mate. Yeah. I mean, I would say I was going to do the joke about when will the coloured man's boot get off my neck.
Good, sometimes it may be shit.
But then I thought, actually, I wouldn't mind your boot being on my neck, but that's a different thing.
That's something else entirely, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. That's fine.
I've put the timer on. We've got 2.5 minutes.
Oh, sound.
I can crack one off in that time. No problem.
Just keep that to your own stream, Kev.
I am. Yeah, absolutely.
Technically is on his own stream, so he is sort of keeping it.
Exactly. Don't invite me on if you don't want me to masturbate publicly, please. No, I'm only joking. Yeah. How are you, Carl?
I'm not so bad. I'm all right. I'm just saying to Curtis, I just feel really exhausted today. But apart from that, I'm alive.
Well, because of the oppression thing, yeah.
I mean, it's just so difficult
It's
being a
difficult.
white man in Britain, isn't it?
It's honestly, it's so
pretty
difficult.
hard.
So difficult.
Been a straight white man in Britain.
Oh, you're straight during
Yes.
Pride. Get
Yeah,
out.
See, I'm just depressed.
How did you avoid the woke mind virus like that? It's well done.
I mean, I'm a member of the Green Party, so they did get me. So
That's right. You probably do have pronouns and everything.
I do.
I don't think you actually do you?
What, have pronouns?
Well, I mean, we'll have pronouns, but I don't think you put it in any of your.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, just having pronouns is like gay now.
I think they're on my Twitter.
Yeah, innit? Just having them.
Just existing whilst
I
having
mean,
pronouns.
the English language is quite gay, isn't it? Think about it.
Nothing gayer than pronouns and indeed adjectives. Gayest words of them all.
Cool. That is spot on. That is really.
This is the kind of high-level engagement with politics you can expect tonight. Okay? That is cutting-edge analysis.
You don't get that on the BBC.
Exactly.
You don't, do you?
Oh, did you see Helena in fucking interviewing Chen Huger?
Yes.
Oh
I
my
did.
god, she's
Banseka Kambi from Naked Politics also did today.
what? So copying our girl? Stay in your fucking lane, bitch.
Oh, she's a friend of the show.
No, I'm only joking.
You got 15 seconds.
Oh shit. Okay.
10 seconds.
Well, time flies.
Dicks, 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 dicks. Lots of dicks.
4 seconds. 3, 2. And you're live.
Hello and welcome to Normal Islands Live. I'm Curtis Daly, and of course, you already know, don't you? I'm joined by Kevin Logan. Kevin, real chirpy mood in the backstage. How are you?
It was. We won the same thing again.
Oh, I just noticed that. Why are you
Bugger.
copying me? Is this? Oh, I know what you're doing.
What?
Because we're talking about white people tonight. You're trying to do some sort of white pride.
Oh yeah, because there wasn't enough white going on here, so I thought, oh, just complete the look. Thankfully, it's too hot to put the head robes on. You know what I mean?
I've not had the opportunity to wear my suits or my suit jackets because it's been so hot. So
It has been. It has been far too hot.
cashing up in white t-shirts. But yeah, how are you?
It's fine. Honestly, the sun has been the most oppressive thing about being white in Britain during recent weeks. But we'll get onto that.
Is that because the sun? Is that because you don't get a tan?
Well, we have in our family what we like to call Irish skin, in that we're either like solid white or lobster. These are the two modes that exist, and yeah, I went a bit lobster. Yeah.
Yeah, as you can see, I don't have that problem. I don't. Right, this is what we've got coming up tonight. We're going to be talking about Reform Friends of Israel, Robert Kenyon, and the Robert Kenyon interview with the BBC, which was a car crash, and of course the far-right riots in the aftermath of the killing of Henry Nowak. Remember to like the stream, make sure you're subscribed, and if you want to support us, then you can go to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support to help fund our work. You can become a YouTube member for 99p, and I'm going to plug our Twitch because our audience kind of has a go at us saying, why aren't you plugging our Twitch? You can watch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/turnleftmedia. Go join the 6 other viewers and get us affiliated so we can take Bezos' money to fight against him. So we're going to use this money to destroy him and the rest of the oligarchs. Let's all get on with the show and on to the first story. How many times have we heard that the Reform Party is anti-establishment? Well, this latest development shows Reform are very much part of the Uni Party. Delighted to launch the official X account of Reform Friends of Israel. Follow for updates as we launch this exciting platform to promote the UK-Israel relationship with Reform UK leaders and members. I mean, I don't think it needs to do anything. We already have a huge UK-Israel relationship, don't we? But would you look at that? Billionaire-backed Reform are also supporters of the genocidal regime of Israel. RFI is... oh, sorry, I put the graphic in the... I think I missed a bit of my...
That's the right graphic.
scripts. Let's fucking hell, I've lost my train of thought. Let's carry on. RFI, which is Reform Friends of Israel, is being established to work with election candidates and other party officials to promote UK-Israel relations. It is understood that Jason Perlman, former advisor to Israel's President Isaac Herzog, could be appointed as director of the group in what will be seen as a major coup. RFI will seek to emulate the success of conservative, Labour and Liberal Democrat Friends of Israel groups moving forwards. So, who is Jason Perlman? Jason Perlman stands to become one of the most influential figures on foreign policy if Nigel Farage's party wins the next election. He has said he has great respect for Benjamin Netanyahu, who was wanted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes. And when his departure from Israeli politics was announced in December, he was personally thanked by President Herzog. Jason has helped guide the office of the president through perhaps Israel's most challenging times with the international press, Herzog said. Yeah, I mean, it must be tough for Israel and the media with them committing a genocide and those pesky journalists keep asking questions about it. Perlman also said that Israel hasn't committed any war crimes. Israel has not committed a single war crime in Gaza, the head of the newly formed Reform Friends of Israel has claimed. Jason Perlman also described the torture and abuse of Palestinian detainees held in Israeli prisons as the minutiae of individual claims. What a horrible individual. Kevin, if you don't think that reform, well, I'm not saying you, but people, if people don't think reform, is the establishment after all the big money donations, being massive Zionists surely, no one can deny that they are very much the establishment.
Oh, they're 100% the establishment. These are entirely a party made up of former Conservative Party members. Literally some of whom, including Robert Jenrick, literally former Conservative Party ministers within the last, 2 years? Yeah, they're obviously establishment. And this shouldn't be remotely surprising, of course, this move to create the Reform Friends of Israel, for two main reasons. Firstly, as we sort of led with there, Reform are establishment. They're pro-Israel, they're absolutely fine with being genocidal, and of course, they're absolutely fine with the American line on everything, because they're so far up Trump's arse they can see out of his nostrils. It's embarrassing, the degree to which they're prepared to cuck us out to America, and thus by extension to Israel, as America's outpost. I actually think it was quite funny that the Labour Party were going to give a red box to the red ministerial box to Trump as well, given that we are essentially just openly admitting there that the UK Prime Minister is just a branch manager of the local regional outlet for the American empire, formerly known as the United Kingdom. Anyway, and secondly, we shouldn't be remotely surprised about the RFI, because Israel is the most obvious candidate for the biggest foreign influencer of a British democracy. They are known to fund many, many groups, including the groups like the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, Labour Friends of Israel, Conservative Friends of Israel. Their claws go into every aspect of British democracy. And of course, naturally, given that the Reform Party are leading in the polls and therefore most likely to be able to form a government after the next election, in order to dictate that government's foreign policy, they need their own vehicle within inside the Reform Party. And they find a very natural home, of course, because they're very welcoming of such evil barbarity as is inflicted by Israel against Muslims. It's very much on brand, I think, with the Reform Party's general ethos. And so Israel has decided to do what Israel always does, which is peddle its influence in every aspect of other people's countries. And that's precisely what they're doing here.
Do you think this is going to negatively affect them, or do you think this will have zero impact at all?
In terms of the realpolitik, it probably helps them, at least in the short term, because Zionism is the du jour amongst the establishment. As we've seen from Jeremy Corbyn in recent years, and indeed now Zach Polanski, or his equivalents in the United States. Any opposition to Israel whatsoever gets you labelled as an anti-Semite. And that will only last so long because, as the leaks from an American insider showed, that even Donald Trump now is saying in private, everyone hates Israel. Because everyone does hate Israel because of what they're doing. There's only so many videos of babies that have been mulched into a liquid being carried in a plastic bag by their fathers that you can see and not realise the evil that's at play here. But for the short term, the amount of political influence and money that's been sloshing around from Israeli coffers, which, by the way, is by proxy American coffers, because there's a cyclical process of American taxpayers' money being given to Israel to then influence American democracy to give more money, and round it goes. And some of that spills over into Britain as well. And the British establishment is firmly pro-Zionist, completely against the will and belief of the British people. But then again, in what area are they not, I suppose? But especially in this regard. And so in the short term, it probably helps them because it keeps the heat off them. If they'd, squelched the forming of this group, they'd have been called anti-Semitic, and the same dogs that are now going after Zach Polanski would probably go after Nigel Farage. So in the short term, it probably helps them. But in the long term, as we're seeing from the beginnings of the backpedalings from people like Wes Streeting and Emily Thornberry this week, the old adage about eventually in the future everyone will have been against this. Everyone has to try and whitewash their involvement in this. I think that will come back to bite Farage as well, of course, as a rabid cheerleader for the military imperialist endeavour in Iran from America and Israel. It'll come back to bite them in the arse that they've jumped on the Zionist train just as the Zionist train is heading off a cliff.
That's a very interesting point about Wes Streeting and Emily Thornberry. They are trying to backpedal. No one's going to forgive them for it, especially Emily Thornberry. She also said on TV or radio that Israel has a right to cut off electricity and water. She said the same thing as Keir Starmer. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's no backpedaling happening, but like it almost feels like reform of coming a bit too late because whilst the political establishment are trying to sound a bit better, reform have come out like, hey, look, we're massive friends of Israel, which I think in terms of like treatment in the media, this is going to be very good for them. And of course, not just that, but the clusterfucking of what Israel does in terms of our internal elections. Like they will try and spend money on ads, whatever. They will do whatever they can. And it just feels like actually now in England, right, every election is basically Israel, the Green Party. It literally just feels like that now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And actually the Green Party, again, Zach Polanski being based as fuck, calling for public monitoring of ex-IDF soldiers that return to Britain. Absolutely. If you've been a member of a genocidal army and you return to Britain, I mean, I would go further and say you should probably be locked up and charged for the crimes you committed. Although there is the possibility of extraterritoriality and legal stuff, so you might have to change the law in order to allow for that, really. But that should be done because these people have committed crimes and they should at least be punished somewhere under someone's jurisdiction for that evil. But at the very least, under current law, what you can do is monitor people who have been involved in foreign armies, whether they be dual citizens or otherwise, that come to Britain, and we should absolutely do so.
Yeah, let's move on because we're going to stick with reform. In fact, actually, this is quite a reform-heavy show. But let's go to our next story. Reform's Makerfield candidate Robert Kenyon was interviewed by the BBC, and my God, it was a car crash.
I spoke to Andy Burnham recently and scrutinised what he'd said in the past and whether he'd changed his mind about various things. So let's do the same with you. And we'll start with some policies. You have said that Russia was well within its rights to invade Crimea, part of Ukraine. That'll sound to some people, won't it, like you're sympathetic to Vladimir Putin?
Absolutely not, Chris. I've served in the Army Reserve since, and I'm totally against the illegal annexation of Crimea.
So you changed your mind on that?
Things have happened since. People change their opinions on things. And
let's talk about Brexit. You said that the Leave campaign peddled nationalistic pish during the Brexit referendum. Did you back Brexit? Did you vote for Brexit?
100%, and on that, Chris, I voted for Brexit.
So who was peddling nationalistic pish? I mean, some critics of your party leader, Nigel Farage, would accuse him of that.
No, to be honest, I don't even know what context. I'm not sure what nationalistic pish means. If I'm
well, you tell me. You wrote it.
I've no recollection of saying that.
You sounded sceptical about COVID vaccines, and in particular boosters. In fact, you told England's chief medical officer to get lost, or you put it a bit more bluntly than that. But I think you got the jabs yourself. So is it responsible to have been saying that kind of stuff whilst you were getting the jabs yourself?
Well, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I'm not anti-vax or anti-jabs. I had my first lot of COVID jabs, but
you were telling England's chief medical officer to get lost.
wasn't a polite thing to say. I weren't involved in politics back then. I speak like the normal bloke does. You go in a pub, we're in a pub now, you go into the next room, speak to local people. I think you'll hear a lot worse than what I've said on Twitter.
Let's do a bit of scrutiny on your character, because part of standing for an MP is people getting a sense of who you are as a candidate and as a person. You made sexual remarks about Carol Vorderman.
Sorry, I have not made sexual remarks about Carol Vorderman. Somebody else did, but then I responded with a crass joke about that comment. So personally, I didn't make the comment.
Carol Vorderman said what you'd said was disgusting. There's a pattern around some of the remarks you've said in the past that have sounded like they were degrading women.
There might have been a few crass comments. If I'm as an elected public official, which I am now, I wouldn't make any crass comments because everything you do say is under a microscope. But comments that are made before I was involved in politics, you'll be judged in the future by what you say.
Astounding, isn't it? absolutely astounding. I mean, there was some genuine like questions about his support for Russia's invasion of Ukraine, or Crimea at least. I mean, that's a big asterisk. Then you've got about COVID vaccines, and of course the comments about Carol Vorderman. But he basically said that, well, I can get away with saying certain things when I'm not in the public eye, but now I'm in the public eye, I can't say certain things. So he doesn't sound like he's regretful of any of his comments. He's just saying, oh, well, I just have to be more careful as someone in the public eye. I have to be more tactile, which is quite revealing, because it's like he doesn't distance himself from a lot of those questions. In terms of Brexit, I mean, if you're going to say that Brexit and Nigel Farage is pushing nationalist pish and then saying, I definitely vote for Brexit, I find that hard to believe. I mean, he may still vote for Brexit, I don't know. I also want to point out, I saw it in the comments, but I was going to break this point anyway, which is that I find the defense of people like Robert Kenyon classist. Now, you might think, what do I mean by that? Well, often people will defend an interview like that and say, yeah, but he's working class, he's not polished, he's not very good at interviews, he's rough around the edges. He says it himself, I'm not your typical politician. And I was like, I find that incredibly classist, because it's assuming that working class people are stupid. When it comes to like education, for example, well, there's this assumption that working class people aren't educated. When there are far right riots, right, and you've got people pissed up and acting like scumbags, right, and we'll say that they're scumbags, you get the right-wing media said, well, you're just classist. So you basically, in trying to defend this, you're being classist by saying, yeah, working class people are stupid, they're thugs, they're criminals, they're pissed up all the time. So it's like, when trying to defend this, you're being classist, okay? Class means your relationship to means of production. It doesn't mean if you're a bit rough around the edges. That's not what it means. It means you're a dickhead, okay? If you make bad comments, right, that's the judge of your character, not your class position. And to be honest, he's not really working class, because he had a pint of water in a pub, not a proper pint. Nigel Farage wouldn't have missed that trick. Now, look, that interview was genuinely painful. And it reminds me of former boxing champion and current Hull mayor for Reform, Luke Campbell. And one of his first videos he put out, he was like a deer in headlights.
This is the office. As you can see, we're building this from the ground up, and it's my plan to be transparent with people of this region and let them know step by step exactly what we're doing. We've had some unbelievable meetings today, making progress already in building a team. This afternoon I am interviewing people that want to be chair of the Freeport, so that's going to be very interesting to see the candidates there. And we're moving forward, and I'm building this team as quick as possible so we can get the results that everyone deserves. Thank you.
He's had fantastic meetings, all right? Again, I want to nail that sort of classism thing, because when a lot of us were looking at Luke Campbell thinking, this guy's a deer in the headlights, he has no idea, people once again saying, you're being very classist. But again, why are you assuming that people that don't know what they're doing are working class? That in itself is very classist, and it really frustrates me. Now, of course, we can joke because it is very funny, but I do think there's something deeper here, right? Reform is a highly ideological party. Its leadership, its backers, the machinery, that's all very ideological. However, we've seen examples of councillors who are utterly unserious and clueless. We have Kenyon, who, again, may have voted Remain. Luke Campbell, in a recent interview, sort of praised Andy Burnham, which probably would have angered Reform HQ. There are people who seemingly are apolitical and have found a home in Reform. Kevin, what do you think's going on here?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to say other than the Reform Party are full of dickheads, really. Like, and I'll get into kind of more of the analysis of it in a second, but ultimately, it's bad people, ultimately, that are being drawn into this political party. I think you make a good point about the classism involved, although I will say, actually, the Luke Campbell thing is probably worse, just on the basis that he had full control over the scripting and editing of that video, and he looked terrible. Whereas at least Kenyon has it was being questioned by a professional journalist who then got to edit out, whatever, and make him look maybe worse than it was, or whatever, I don't know. But either way, it was an absolute car crash, because ultimately he's not actually a very good political candidate. And I think you make a good point. The classism involved in this comes from decades now, where the phrase working class opinions or working class political attitudes is a way that London media people say racism. That's all they mean. When they say what working class people want, they just mean racism. Because that's all they think working class people are, is just thick, uneducated, illiterate racists. That's exactly the reaction you got to after Brexit, of course, where working class areas of the country voted for a myriad of different reasons, not all to do with immigration or anything like that. The socio-economic betrayal of parts of the country like Sunderland and the Northern Wall and Wales and such by the Westminster elite led to them saying, well, the status quo is terrible, let's vote for literally anything else. And the status quo people went, well, clearly they must just be racists. And this is where you get to where the idea that a working class person is just excused. This is the bigotry of low expectations sort of thing, Whereas there are lots of working class people who are very highly educated, very erudite, very well spoken, intelligent, thoughtful people, like, I don't know, Hannah Spencer, for instance. And you do have to be some of those things to be a mainstream national politician to some extent, although listening to Lee Anderson maybe not always in all cases. But regardless, you do have to have some of those qualities, and this man does not possess those qualities. And the bigger point, I think, about this is that having watched that car crash interview with Kenyon, there is literally no way any genuinely thinking, sensible, good faith actor could vote for that man. Not only did he actually definitely make sexual comments about Carol Vorderman, including wanting to, quote, tongue her arse. That's a thing he just agreed with. That's a thing. That's a thing you said, Mr. Kenyon. Fuck you. Not only did he maybe not vote for Brexit or whatever, look, he said some really appalling things. He's been anti-vax, he's been pro-Putin, he's been all kinds of different things. He's an awful man. It won't actually make much difference to your average Reform voter, because they don't care about those things. You've tried for ages and ages just saying this person is racist or this person is bigoted. It didn't work with Donald Trump. It didn't work with Boris Johnson. It hasn't worked with Nigel Farage. And it probably isn't going to work with this guy. Now, that's not to say that Andy Burnham won't win, because I think he probably will. But that's because it's Andy Burnham. That's because he has a pull in that region far and above any other Labour politician. He might be the only Labour politician in the entire country that could win there. But this won't massively affect his Kenyon's vote in the election. Because just saying you're a racist or a sexist or a homophobe or this, that and the other isn't enough. You need to actually question them on, A, do they even understand the policy? Because there's another interview he did, which was Car Crash, where he didn't even understand what Reform's policies were in key areas. And not just if they understand the policy, but the implications of the policy. Actually give concrete reasons why voting Reform is bad. Not just that they're bad people, because I know that and you know that. But you're not preaching to the converted. You're trying to convert the unconverted. And just saying they're racist to people who are also a bit racist isn't anything. You need to actually give them concrete reasons as to why their lives are going to be negatively affected by voting for Reform. And that's unfortunately what the media are terrible at doing.
I mean, I completely agree with you that I don't think that interview is going to make any difference. And part of writing this story wasn't like, oh, if I just show this to people, they'll be convinced not to vote Reform. The reason why I'm showing this is because I want to investigate this potential phenomenon of apolitical people go into Reform, and maybe it's a wider phenomenon of apolitical people go into the right wing, because some may say, oh, it's because of candidates aren't vetted as well under Reform than maybe the Labour or the Tories, because they're well established political parties. And I would say possibly, however, like speaking to Green Party councillors and members, they are highly motivated and are highly educated on their own politics and policies. I've never met someone, a green activist or whatever, to be really clueless about their own policy and sort of like, I don't really know. I just like green stuff. Like, I've never come across that. I've come across people like very well briefed on their policies. So I don't think it's a lack of vetting in terms of knowing, in terms of the candidates knowing what they're supporting. And I don't think it's because Reform aren't as well institutionalised as Labour and the Conservatives. Because again, I will point to examples of the Green Party where they seem to be extremely committed to their views. So, do you think there is a phenomenon of apolitical people being drawn to Reform and maybe the right wing? Potentially, we can link it to like how in America you had like podcasters and gamers were getting really sort of wrapped up under Donald Trump. Do you think there's something there?
Well, I mean, firstly, the framing you use is perfectly just, because this is how these people see themselves, as apolitical. But no one is actually apolitical. And I don't just mean that in some like, oh, well, I've just defined you out of your question. I mean it literally in the sense that, like you say with those podcasters, Joe Rogan probably sees himself as a fairly apolitical man, and we know he isn't.
Yeah.
The people who are, like you say, they think of themselves as apolitical because they don't really follow the politics day to day, but they have political beliefs. They have political ideological positions. And I think one of the reasons that they are drawn towards someone like Nigel Farage is because he speaks in a more plain fashion, usually. Now, of course, he's become more of a politician since he got to Westminster, because there's just sort of a natural process that people undergo on that place. It's a foul, corrupted den of iniquity. But he speaks more plainly on things like, with this, we'll get onto it in a second, but the way in which he puts his point across is more direct. And so he connects with people. He has the name recognition of a mainstream politician, but without the baggage of being in either of the major political parties, who are despised throughout the country. If you look at the popularity of the two main parties, they are absolutely hated. There are parts of the north of England that will never vote for the Conservative Party and don't want to vote for the Labour Party either now. And so they're sort of left, and you've got pockets of it that will go to the Green Party and are amenable to that. But this is, of course, quite a Brexit-heavy area of the country, and so naturally those kinds of people who are just your average everyday person who doesn't follow politics, doesn't necessarily understand it, isn't really apolitical but thinks of themselves as apolitical, are drawn more into that sphere of things because they know Nigel Farage, they sort of know that they supported Brexit, and so they've gone, well, if this is a way of sticking two fingers up to Westminster, much in the same way that many people voted at the Brexit referendum, not because of racial issues, not because of immigration, not because of anything. They just wanted to say fuck you to Westminster. It was a way of using their vote in a way that hurt the people that have hurt them. And that's precisely what they think a vote for Nigel Farage is. Of course it won't be, because Nigel Farage is a part of the swamp. He's a privately educated wanker banker, friend of Israel, friend of Donald Trump, supporter of Vladimir Putin, all of the terrible, awful things that we know about so many of the establishment candidates. And yet, he has got the sort of recognition of not being a part of that. So he's sort of in a sweet spot, at least for the time being. It will change if he ever gets into government. Although how that will quite work, given that he doesn't do the job of one MP. So you have to have meetings every single day, Nigel, and not for £5 million a pop. As Prime Minister. So I'm not sure how that will actually work. But if it does, then he'll lose that kudos, I think, and you might see a sort of precipitous, is that the right word? Precipitous drop in the Reform support. But yeah, people who think of themselves as apolitical are drawn into that that sort of more reactionary side of things. And the Green Party have to find a way. I think they found a way in Zach Polanski of being able to reach a certain number. Yeah, right. Left populism to get into certain areas. But there is clearly still room to grow and room to manoeuvre in that.
No, I think it's a good point about like Joe Rogan. Someone he said he's apolitical. The man has interviewed like J.D. Vance and massive people. He's extremely political.
The man is friends with Alex Jones.
Exactly. Let's part that there. And before we go on to our final story, you know what I'm going to say? It's 2026. We want this year to be big for Turn Left. We want to be far more ambitious than last year and to really put us on the map. As you know, we've been leveling up. We have a part-time studio with guests in person, but we want to have our full-time owned space and for our contributors to be paid for the work we do. Your support over the years has been amazing, and we're ready to take this to the next level. We rely on small donations, so if you want to be part of a media organisation that seeks to destroy the oligarchs, then please head over to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There you can support us monthly on Patreon, or there is another link for a one-time contribution. You can also become a YouTube member for 99p, and you can go and support us on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/turnleftmedia. We also have a Discord where all of us are in the Discord too, so come and chat with us, come hang out. Some of our viewers engage in voice chats afterwards, so if one of our mods and commenters can drop the Discord link in the chat, that'll be fantastic. Let's move on to our final story. After the horrific killing of Henry Nowak, a protest organised by the far right took place. Let's take a look at some clips.
They're throwing bins! They're in retreat! The old Bill are in retreat! Shit! Someone just got clonked in the fucking... Oh, he's bleeding! Fuck!
That last clip was a friendly fire. One of the rioters threw a cone and hit the head of somebody else. But guess what? That wasn't the last one. There's another friendly fire. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I don't actually endorse violence.
I mean, I'm impressed at how far the bin was thrown. I mean, if only this person took up an Olympic sport rather than becoming a far-right thug, the world would be a better place. It really landed on his head. Again, I'm quite impressed how far he threw the wheelie bin. Now, I'm sure we'd be told that these are just patriots reclaiming the streets. I presume that also includes those throwing Nazi salutes. I struggle to hear what's actually being said. Are they saying white power or white man? I'm not sure. I don't know. But it's clear that you've got Nazis on the street. Now, far-right agitator Lawrence Fox made an appearance too.
I was going to say, what's the main reason you're out here today? What should we do about all of this?
Because it's the most disgusting thing I've ever witnessed in the world. If this was a young black man, the whole country would be on fire. There'd be Macpherson reports, there'd be independent inquiries. Those people in there are your enemy, they're not your friend.
I mean, the thing that's disgusting about the whole thing is his fucking bottom teeth. Now, he talks about how, well, if this was a black person, there would be riots. And it's like, well, the white persons were killed, and there are riots. And then says, well, there'd be a Macpherson support. Look, there's the Macpherson support. There's a difference, right? Okay? A young man was killed because of a disgusting thug who's now locked up for 21 years. And the police did a terrible job in handling it. Apparently, he would have died from his injuries anyway, so he might not have been saved. But we can all still agree that when you have a police officer saying, I don't think you've been stabbed, mate, when someone's saying, I've been stabbed, it's terrible. And yes, we should be angry and we should want better policing. But there's not an institutional anti-white bias in society. Show me the data, right? We know that with people of colour. That's why there was a Macpherson report. Because there was institutional racism, and it came from Stephen Lawrence. Now, this is the same Lawrence Fox who said it should be okay to say the N-word.
I mean, let's take it further. Yeah. Let's go a lot further. I think we should all be able to say the N-word.
Go on then. Oh.
Oh, wow. You are fucking hard. You are fucking hard. Saying the N-words in his own arena. In front of a white person, by the way. What if you'd say it in front of a black person? That just shows like the level of gutter that turn up to these far-right rallies. Now, another far-right agitator, young Bob, thought it was appropriate to film himself where Henry was killed.
So this is the actual house where it happened. Just behind me there would have been Henry Novak when he was on the floor bleeding out.
This is disgraceful. He's literally gone up to where he was killed and filmed it for content. They'll say it's for a movement, but it's still technically content. And you saw, signs perched off the tree, so it wasn't just him. Others thought it was appropriate to go there. Now, do you think this is what the family of Henry Nowak wants? This is Mark Nowak, Henry's father, making a heartfelt statement after the sentencing.
In our darkest period of our lives, knowing that people were fighting tirelessly for Henry gave us strength. They secured justice for our son, and for that, our family will be forever grateful. For us, there is no closure. There is no moment where the pain stops. There is no moment where the Henry-shaped hole in our family is filled. We will carry this grief every single day for the rest of our lives. But today matters. Today, Henry was believed. The truth has been recognized. Today, justice, in the eyes of the law, has been served. But justice alone is not enough. We want to use Henry's heartbreaking story to make change for the better. We do not want his death to be used to create further division, hatred, or tension. We want his story to make our streets safer for everyone. That is why we are calling on the government to treat knife crime as the national emergency that it is. We need real solutions. We need investment in prevention. We need stronger action on the sale, the ownership and carrying of all knives. And as this case so painfully demonstrates, we need common sense applied to our laws. This doesn't mean knee-jerk reaction. This doesn't mean going to extremes. It just means a common sense approach to law and order. As the case C for the prosecution summed up in court, this is not a case about Sikhism. This is not a case about racism. This is a case about murder. People should not be able to walk openly through the streets of Britain carrying a 21-centimetre blade. As a family, we will not let this go. No other family should experience the heartbreak and horror of losing a child to knife crime. Finally, I want Henry to know, wherever he is, we are so proud of him and we love him beyond words.
That's hard to watch. And that was a very dignified response because he talks about knife crime. He talks about a real issue in society, which is knife crime. He doesn't look at people's race or their religion or where they came from, which is what the far right are doing, which Nigel Farage is doing. He's not trying to pit races against each other. He's saying that there's an issue of knife crime and we should do our best to improve that. And it would be nice if the far right and right would actually talk about knife crime. They only talk about knife crime if they can use it to be racist. Do they actually care about these things? Of course not. They don't give a damn. Now, we've heard many voices on the far right say that multiculturalism has failed. And you know what? They're right. It's true. It has. The culture of getting pissed and taken to our streets, attacking police officers and causing riots. The culture of taking an individual incident and turning it into a force of division across society. Burning down hotels with people inside them. That culture is not compatible with the vast majority of peaceful Muslims, Jews, Christians, and atheists. The right wing are correct. Multiculturalism has failed. But for them, they mean those from different religions or ethnic backgrounds. But actually, a culture of thuggery, rioting, and misogyny. Kevin, what are your thoughts on the fallout of this horrific murder? Cold Rage. Just cut. Can I just quickly cut you off? I think you're muted on your stream.
Am I muted on my stream?
Yeah, I'm getting people come in and say.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I don't know what happened there. Okay, well oh god. What I'll do then, I'll put that rant up that I just did because it was quite good. I'll cut the audio from your stream and just put it up on my channel tomorrow. Apologies, everyone. It was fucking awesome.
It was a
loved
bloody
it.
good one.
Anyway, as to Lawrence Fox's point, there's a difference between an innocent man being killed and the police doing nothing to do with it to get justice and no justice being sought, and an innocent man being killed and the murderer being found and prosecuted and getting a life sentence. Because it's 21 years minimum. Do you think it's likely he's going to get out after 21 years? I don't think so in the slightest. And that's, of course, before the police, before the government have already said they're going to look into applying this on the unduly lenient sentence statute as well. So it's very possible that will be increased at some point anyway. But either way, this motherfucker is not getting out of jail possibly ever. And rightly so. I don't mind that particularly. But the point is, if you compare those two things as if they are remotely similar, you're a scumbag. You're an absolute fucking scumbag. You're not in this for good faith. You're not in this for anything like good reasons. You're just a racist and you want to have an excuse to play the victim. Because as always with the right wing, the accusation is always a confession. When they accuse left-wing people of wanting to play the victim or race baiting, it's because that is precisely what they wish to do. They want so desperately to be the victim. And they so rarely are that they have to pick on the one case where a white man was killed, but justice was sought and got for that person to the extent that justice can ever be truly got by the legal system. The man was caught and imprisoned. Please tell me where the father and mother and family and friends of Stephen Lawrence can look to for that justice. Because I don't fucking see it. Anyway, I am openly now calling for these people to be prescribed as terrorists because that is what they are. That is absolutely what they fucking are. If Palestine Action, who have done a scintilla of the amount of violence and corruption to the British political system that Nigel Farage has, can be prescribed as terrorists, how the fuck is Nigel Farage not a terrorist? How the fuck is Tommy Robinson not a terrorist?
You're probably going to want to also direct your ire at Zar Yusuf because we're going to go on to the next part of the story. Reforms Zar Yusuf has has been non-stop posting and weaponizing the killing of Henry Nowak, coming out with some disgraceful statements. First, he claims that policing is institutionally anti-white. The Tories pushed DEI through our institutions and created a country in which discriminating against white people is not just legal, but encouraged. Kemi Badenoch's response to the Henry Nowak murder makes it easy to see why. I would like to know what data Yusuf has on anti-white discrimination in this country, especially on policing, whereas we have decades of documented data on the institutional sexism and racism in the Met Police. For example, black men are far more likely to be stopped and searched. The McPherson report categorically documents the racism against people of colour in the police. There was another recent report after decades showing that the racism is still there. But no such data or evidence suggests the same for white people. Yet Yusuf is going as far to say that anti-white racism is encouraged.
Nigel Farage issued a statement on camera calling for people to respond with pure, cold rage. That's incitement, isn't it?
Did you watch the body cam footage, Kathy?
I did watch the body cam footage, and I also watched Nigel
and what
Farage's
emotions did you feel? Kathy, what emotion did you feel having watched it?
I'm asking you whether that's incitement.
With respect, I'm asking you what emotion you felt having watched the body cam
I'm conducting this interview, so
I'm
asking you...
of Henry Nowak being
if that
read
is
his
incitement.
rights having been arrested, Kathy. Henry Nowak's the last words Henry heard on this earth were his rights having been arrested by the police, bleeding to death. And my question to you, genuinely, it's a sincere question, human to human, Kathy.
Zia,
how did you feel watching that footage?
Zia, if you could let me ask my question, it's absolutely heartbreaking, and that is why the family said they wanted to turn that into something that would not create more division. I'm asking you if Nigel Farage suggesting to people that they feel cold, pure cold...
Answered my question, which is what emotion did you feel having watched that body cam footage?
I'm interviewing you, so I would like you to ask that question. Is that incitement or not? It's simple.
Okay, well, I will tell you, having watched that footage myself, I was furious about it. I think millions of people in this country of all sorts of races and religions, based on the people who are speaking to me and sending me messages constantly, they were absolutely furious about it as well, because it was a crystal clear example of two-tier policing. And how on earth the police, upon attending the scene, took more seriously an accusation of racism than an accusation of having been stabbed. Paul Henry said repeatedly to the police, that I've been stabbed. And the police said, and this is burnt into my memory now, it's so horrifying, the police responded with, I quote, I don't think you have, mate.
We have Nigel Farage making claims that white lives matter, which is a slogan that was used by, the UK's largest white supremacist group. Are you happy with him using that phrase?
Kathy, what Nigel Farage said today was that white lives matter as much as black lives. Do you disagree with that statement?
You seem to be conducting an interview with me, but I'm trying to ask you the question.
I'm asking you whether you disagree with the statement.
But you're the politician.
I'm correcting. With respect, Kathy, I'm correcting you on this, because to leave out the second half of the sentence, I think is deliberately misrepresentative and misleading. So Nigel said that white lives matter as much as black lives. And my question to you is, do you disagree with that statement?
And my question to you is about Nigel Farage's claims of anti-white prejudice. I mean, there is overwhelming evidence, isn't there, of police racism over the decades against black minority ethnic people. You've got to go back to the Scarman report, the McPherson report, the Casey review. There are decades of racism by the police against black minority ethnic people. Do you accept that that is a fact?
The way I feel about Zahir Yusuf is he is a truly nasty piece of work, a despicable scumbag. I hate the man. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. I hate him. Just an awful human being. I mean, that is one of the most shameful clips I have ever seen. Cathy Newman, I don't exactly have a lot of respect for, is doing an interview of a politician. And she's saying, look, your party leader said people should have cold rage after this, which is clearly incitement. It's incitement for people to do something about it. And instead of answering the question, he turns it back on her saying, well, I'm going to be interviewing now. And his response is to say, did you look at the footage? Did you look at the footage? Of course you've seen the footage. We've all seen it, and we're all disgusted by it. And then he says, well, do you know what? This is a genuine question, human to human. That was not a genuine question. That was a lead-in, a trap for you to turn around and spout your BS. You're also lying. Nigel Farage did not say that white lives matter just as much as black lives matter. He literally said that anti-white racism or anti-white prejudice is a thing. And Kathy correctly says, well, there's documented history and evidence of anti-black racism in the police. The same isn't for white people. Now, for years, the right wing attacked Black Lives Matter by saying, well, all lives matter, not Black Lives Matter. Of course, all lives matter. But given the high level of anti-black racism, especially in the US, the point about Black Lives Matter was to point out that black lives didn't matter. And seemingly still doesn't. It was to say, guess what? Black lives matter too. And the response by simply saying, well, all lives matter, was to downplay racism. Yet now the right wing are doing the exact same thing they hated. They're saying, white lives matter. So hold on a second. Beforehand, you were saying all lives matter, and it's wrong to say black lives matter. And now you're saying, well, actually, white lives matter. What I found very interesting from the right wing and the far right is they've done the inverse liberal identity politics. Their entire political existence was to define themselves against the liberal establishment and political correctness. Oh my God, this, that. Oh, racism here, Black Lives Matter there. Right? You're doing the exact same thing. You're doing the culture wars. You're doing the identity politics, but in reverse. But at least the liberals had data and evidence on systemic racism. Now, I have big criticisms in the way in which liberals handled systemic racism because they had no class analysis and class comes into it. Of course, I have criticisms of it, but at least the liberals were right that there were, and there is, racism in society against people of colour. There is when it comes to white people. And yet, people like Zahir Yusuf is trying to weaponise it. White lives obviously matter, but it doesn't need a slogan because there's never been a time when white lives didn't matter on an institutional level. I'll tell you when white lives don't matter. That's when you're white and you're poor, or white and working class. But also, if you're black and brown working class, you're also in that category. Now, if you think Zahir couldn't seek any lower, you'd be wrong. The government has announced prostate cancer screening will be offered to black men. The government has announced all black men aged between 45 and 74 will be offered prostate cancer screening. Now, the reason for this is because 1 in 4 black men are diagnosed with prostate cancer, which is double the risk of other men. Yusuf thought it was fit to respond with this. On the day the whole political establishment claims we do not live in a two-tier society, they announced this. Notes, the NHS makes no drugs available exclusively to white people. That is disgusting. Black men have a far higher risk of prostate cancer. And also, screening for prostate cancer is not exclusive for black people. So I don't know why you're saying, tell me which other service is only exclusive for white people. Because none of it exists, okay? The government just announced they're putting more investment into prostate checks for black men. It doesn't mean that you can't get checked as a white person. So not only is he lying, but once again, he's weaponizing it. Is there anything this corporate Zio puppet won't weaponize? Kevin, do you think this White Lives Matter rhetoric from Yusuf will cotton on here?
I think it already has to a degree. I think we've seen the rightward slide of British politics for some time, and this is the natural outcome of it. They're essentially using Rupert Lowe being more far right as a kind of, I'll use a kind of equivalent in the United States. If you remember a few years back when Glenn Beck was the crazy motherfucker on Fox News who'd say such outrageous crazy shit that it made all of the actual far right serious shit seem more sensible. And that's essentially what they're doing here. He is the heat shield for the far right that allows more far rightism to seem palatable to the liberal establishment. And that's precisely what we're seeing now with the likes of, them talking about white rights and such. Firstly, I think it's very interesting that the man of the people, Zahir Yusuf, was had that interview being chauffeured around in his luxury car Very, very, very populist of you there. He makes some interesting points, which I think are worth analysing. Firstly, there is a two-tier policing system. But the two-tier policing system is if you're rich and you're a paedophile, if you're rich and you're friends of a paedophile, if you're rich and phenomenally corrupt, if you're rich and you take bribes in the form of free gifts to, say, like the Arsenal or something like that, if you're rich and you just steal money from the public, you get in the House of Lords, if you're rich and are financially corrupt in any number of other ways, you're absolutely fine. If you're on the dole and you work and earn £1 and you don't allow that to be, you don't tell the taxman about that, you will be absolutely fucking hammered to the point where you will get absolutely no money whatsoever in the short term and possibly kicked off universal credit in the long term as well. If you are disabled, you will be absolutely crushed. That's the two-tier system we have. If you are rich, you can get whatever the fuck you like and do whatever, even slightly break the rules, you will be over-policed. When he talks about the way in which policing is done for certain groups, I did not hear Zia Youssef come out and decry the very strange notion in the wake of the Golders Green attack from a few weeks ago that the British government were going to put more money into the creation of a Jewish-specific branch within the Metropolitan Police Force. Literally, almost as if they are trying to make the JQ become a thing. Almost as if they are literally trying to give preferential treatment to Jewish people on the basis of their Jewishness to make it seem like they are a special group unlike everybody else. A pretty disgusting notion, really, when you think about it. And there does need to be an investigation of this, not only because someone died who needn't have died, although, as you point out, they very possibly would have anyway, but at least they'd have had a chance of survival if the police had done their job properly. But investigation needs to be done on this, not even on the basis of the racial implication of it, because, frankly, it was one dickhead who lied about a racist attack. That's not really an institutional issue. What needs to be done is not just into police training, because we keep being told that they broke their training. So clearly the training isn't really the issue, because they don't follow their fucking training. What needs to be done is the culture of stat padding within the police. They desperately need there to be an arrest on virtually every incident like this. So they don't give a fuck if you've been stabbed, you're being arrested. If you complain about it, and let's be honest, every person who has ever been arrested has complained. No one has enjoyed being arrested. No one goes entirely peacefully into handcuffs, into a tiny horrible cell with potentially some very dangerous people inside of that cell. You are going to complain. You might be even going to make stuff up. You might be intoxicated. Who knows? And the police deal with this day to day. And so when they hear someone say something like, I've been stabbed, they're just going to say, no, you're not. You're just being a prick. And carry on. It wasn't even the police. Like, I don't want to defend the police, because fuck the police. Like, the right-wing critique here is, oh, why aren't you making noise about this? Well, we've been saying for fucking decades that the police are shit. But the police have to try and justify themselves and the ridiculously inordinate sums of money we spend on them, considering the complete paucity of public good they actually serve, by having arrest numbers. Regardless of whether those arrests lead to anything, regardless of the fact that they don't lead to prosecutions of very serious crimes, regardless of the fact that the police are often the ones doing the fucking crimes in the first place, the police need to stat pad and arrest people and be gross toward them in order to just process the case and get it through, because that makes them look good. It makes the chief we've got all of these numbers. We can put it in a fancy graph. We can release a report saying how effective we are whilst the country goes to shit. Again, it's governance by briefcase robot that leads to the deaths of innocent people and the brutalisation of mostly ethnic minorities, but in this case it was a white guy that happened to be on the rough end of it. And the police need to be investigated, and frankly, not defunded completely, but defunded very significantly, because they can't deal with things like mental health issues. They clearly don't give a fuck about people who are victims. They don't even give a fuck about people who are perpetrators, because they're often the perpetrators themselves. The police need root and branch cleaning out. And it's not because they're racist against white people. In fact, it's because they're racist against everybody else.
It's funny because for decades we were told to shut up by the right wing in our criticisms of the police. It's like the police. It's patriotic to support the police. No, you can't attack our bobbies on the street. And now suddenly, oh well, actually they can use it for their ends. Suddenly the police are the enemy. And it's like, well, we have long pointed out the issues with policing, but we were ignored.
Well, the right
because
wing,
obviously they can politicize it and basically start a fucking race riot.
Yeah. And of course, not to make everything about Israel, but I think a good example of this is when they removed the head of the West Midlands Police Force for daring to say that allowing in pro-rape, violent, Kahanist, religious extremist football fans into Birmingham was probably not a great idea, and they hounded him out of office for it. So they're happy to attack the police when it suits them, certainly.
100%. I think that's a good time to go to your comments. I'm really excited to see what you've got written. It's going to be very interesting. And we're joined by Callum Saylor, our producer.
Hello, can you hear me?
I certainly can.
Wonderful, in which case everyone else can. Yeah, just some updates to some of this story while we've been on air. I did just have it in front of me. It's now gone. How professional of me, Callum. There it is. So this one's really frustrating. Politics UK have tweeted this. It's come from a Times journalist. But apparently a number of officers in Hampshire Police responsible for the arrest of Henry Novak have said that they have controlled and pressured, that they are controlled and pressured to feel certain ways, quote, after receiving mandatory DEI training. So they're still pushing this narrative that it's all about DEI.
Well, I do have to pull you up on even the very notion of there being a journalist that works for the Times. What are you talking about?
But also, like, this is the thing. What doesn't make any sense about, like, DEI or whatever. It's like, so you're going to tell me that a police officer is going to look at a white kid and go, he's told me he's stabbed, but I'm not going to look at, like, institutional racism against people of colour. Like, often the racism doesn't go through their heads. It's a institutional bias, right? Yeah. So the idea that, oh, well, you know, he could have been saved if he was black, it's ludicrous.
Also, can we just point out that Politics UK is a fucking right-wing shithouse
It's just a
account?
shit.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. But they were just sharing something from the Times, so...
Well, yeah, but okay, I'll just scale up to the right... Can we just say that the Times is right-wing shit? It's the Murdoch press, I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
I think
I'm highlighting, Kev, the fact that those officers have apparently said that, because that in and of itself is just going to stir up more.
Well,
shit.
thankfully, the police have never lied about anything, so I definitely believe them.
And I'm pretty sure it was Ben who a while ago pointed out that DEI. I fucking hate this yankification slop. Stop it. But DEI in this country, like, often benefits poor white working class kids. Specifically, young white working class boys. So, are the right wing going to kick off about DEI there?
The other thing to add just to some of this story is Nigel Farage's reaction to Matt Chorley on Newsnight last night as well. I don't know if you saw this, but Matt Chorley misquoted Farage as saying white cold rage instead of pure cold rage, and it's actually led to Reform UK and Nigel Farage's lawyers threatening the BBC with legal action. They also said that they will be boycotting the corporation until they received an on-air apology.
Okay, but like he said this before, like, 5 years ago he said he was boycotting the BBC and appeared on it 2 weeks later.
Until they received an apology, and now they have actually received an apology. But what's interesting...
Oh, the BBC... Do you know what? Fuck the BBC too. They're fucking useless. You apologised for that, you fucking melters. You know what? When Reform get in and fucking defund you, you'll have earned your unemployment, you cunts.
Well, what I did like, because I mean, they're gonna put one out on Newsnight tonight, but that's only because Farage was threatening legal action. But Matt Chorley's actually put out an apology himself. But what he says in it, which I thought quite amusing, was he said, however, I referred to white cold rage instead of pure cold rage. He said, this was a mistake on my part, a misremembering of the quote. And then he said, it didn't change the content of the interview, but I should have got the quote right. I apologise to Nigel Farage for this. And it's going to be interesting to see what they actually put out on Newsnight tonight, because he's right. The context, but the context doesn't actually change. No. And I hope he gets done for incitement of violence for that comment, to be honest.
It's the British Broadcasting cocks now. That's all it is.
That's literally, And it's so funny. It's like, oh, we're going to boycott the BBC. No, you're fucking not. Your entire career was built from the BBC.
Well, it would have made it.
No one would know who you are. No one would know who the fuck Nigel Farage was if it wasn't for the BBC.
But importantly, BBC until they felt that the apology was quote satisfactory.
I think they should just. I want them to boycott it. So I don't fucking see them. My taxpayers' money doesn't have to go to their fucking faces.
Curtis, please. The point I'm trying to make is that. We talked earlier, didn't we, about the fact that Rob Kenyon is supposed to be appearing on Question Time tomorrow. But if Reform UK are boycotting the BBC, it's an excuse for him not to go on. And I wonder whether, after tonight's Newsnight apology, Nigel Farage will say that they haven't gone far enough, and as a result, pull Rob Kenyon from going on Question Time tomorrow, because they know what an absolute prat he's going to make of himself. So
that's a very good point, actually, and I desperately want Robert Kenyon to go on because he will show himself to be an idiot. It is beneficial for him to not go on. But yeah, I actually think they're going to use that excuse. Say, I'm not satisfied, and they've got their excuse.
Well, fuck it. Look, now they're doing AI. They just have 5 AI Zia Yusufs on the fucking panel. That's what they want to do anyway.
True, and all they got to do is I love Israel. I love Israel.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the choice we get in this election, guys.
Yeah.
The Greens.
Anyway.
Although, can I just say, there is one candidate that wasn't allowed in, so if the Reform guy drops out, Count Binface, let's go. He's on the ballot. He's on the ballot. Put him on the fucking show.
So
a
Restore, and if you believe some of the polls, they're actually polling higher than the Conservative Party, and they've got a slot. So, maybe Restore Britain should get a seat there too.
Actually, let's bring this one up. Don't read it out.
So this one's from Taylor K, who said, I'm sorry, but the police officers have just went against your whole narrative and you're just going to skip over it, lol. What? Because some officers from Hampshire Police have made a comment about DEI.
Well, hang on. Have the police ever lied to cover up the fact that they're completely shit at their jobs before? Has that ever happened? Has there been any incident of that ever taking place before? Because if so, I would suggest maybe it might have happened again for the millionth time. By the way, you forgot 2 Ks from your name, you racist prick. Fuck off. KKK? No?
It's very convenient to say that, though, isn't it? It's like, oh, no, we don't need to... We can pass the responsibility now. It wasn't our fault. We were told to do DEI stuff.
But isn't it interesting?
It's obviously bullshit.
But hang on, isn't it really interesting that we're only talking about this story now because it's obviously finished through the courts. So while the whole court proceedings were going on, obviously the media couldn't talk about it because it could prejudice the court case, which is why it's the news today and not a week ago.
Which is why it's such a...
So isn't it interesting, just sorry, Kev, isn't it interesting how these police officers didn't say this in court? They're only saying by DEI. Very, very convenient. But you're seriously suggesting that this quotes DEI, which isn't even a fucking thing in the UK. It's a bloody American term. But are we seriously suggesting that because police officers are trained to respond to hate incidents and to, I don't know, not prejudice people and stop and search them simply because they happen to be black, because that doesn't automatically mean that they might be guilty of a crime? Where does that line with not checking somebody for a wound when they tell you that they've been fucking stabbed? At what point in quotes DEI training do police officers get told, yeah, if you've got someone on the floor who's in and out of consciousness and they're telling you that they can't breathe and have been stabbed, that your immediate response should be to say, nah, I don't think so, mate, rather than to actually fucking look for a wound and give them the support that they need for the injury that they're claiming they have?
Yeah. Which, by the way,
bullshit.
On a sort of related note, the reporting restrictions are due to the fact that the British system is fucking terrible. This is the one way in which we need to actually Yankify, is to sequester all of the people on the jury so you inconvenience 12 people, rather than sequester every single person in the country to make sure that we know nothing about the case so that we can't influence the jury. Which is ridiculous, because instead of inconveniencing 12 people, you're inconveniencing 70 million fucking people, which leads to essentially a cliff edge where we have no news of a thing and then boom, we know everything, which is ridiculous.
Theories happen, don't they?
Well, exactly. Whereas if you have reporting on it constantly, you have a dissipation of that social pressure that you get if it's just all clumped together at the end, which leads to fucking race riots.
Taylor K, consider that not skipped over.
So, Sue, the super chats. Michael has gifted 1 turn left membership. Thanks, Michael. We appreciate it as always. Benji has done the same. Terry has gifted 10 turn left memberships. Thank you for those, Terry. Really appreciate that. We've got a £2 super chat from Benji saying, check email for Twitch affiliate invitation.
I can't. There's no email in there. I just don't know.
I've not seen one. If it's gone to the Turn Left email account, it's not there. But
well, some people are already affiliates. You know what I'm saying? It's not for everyone, lads. You know.
How's it feel to work for Jeff Bezos then?
Yeah, I am Bezos' little bitch. Yeah.
We've been paid a cheese tax by Layla, £5. Cheese tax. All hail the giant rats. Much love to Turn Left, Kev, and everyone in both chats.
What is a cheese tax? But I love
it's Kev, not Kev. I don't know why.
It's I do a joke because of the bin strikes. We had like giant rats, and so it's become it's become a. You got fucking £5 out of it, you cunt! Don't fucking do that. Behave.
Andrina has gifted 1 Turn Left membership. Thank you for that one. Specs has sent £5 and pointed out what Curtis alluded to earlier, which is that we usually hang out in the voice chat of the Discord after the shows. Many of our
oi Specs lad,
do.
How you
come join the community, and can a mod please post a link in the Discord? Thank you. I think they have, and if they have,
just on that point before I forget. I mean, I could do this off air anyway, but because my audio cut out, is it all right if you? I presume you're going to put that bit out on your channel, right?
Yeah, it'll go out, and you'll be able to get it from the replay the live as well.
Well, no, that's what I mean though. Can I just put that? Can I just download your video and put it up on my channel? Fuck it. It's going to be basically the same video.
If you want.
Thank you. Okay. Saves me having to edit. That's all.
Plants McGee sent us £2 to tell us that Kev was muted, so thanks for that.
Go fuck yourself, Plants. Go fuck yourself.
Nice.
But keep coming with the cash, Plants, because we appreciate it.
No, fuck off, from you. All of you.
Well, Plants sent another £2 and said DEI is delayed every instance. Leeds Tram Network.
True.
Northern Rail as well.
Nice. Honestly, anyone who parks their fucking car on the tram lines gets nuked. Your house gets fucking nuked. You're gone. You people are fucking arseholes, holding everyone else up. Fuck off. Sorry, the Birmingham trams have the same problem. It's very annoying.
Deus Ex has sent £2 and said for Kev spitting straight facts.
Based.
And another £2 from Deus Ex saying for Kev continuing to spit straight facts. That was only sent 12 minutes ago. That
also true. Yeah.
So yes, thank you for those. Let's go to some of the ones that I've starred. Michael said at the start of the show, Curtis, don't blame the weather. You've not had a blazer in months.
True. I didn't think someone was going to pick up on that.
And Poodlefish Girl said...
We'll make a comeback one time, though.
Well, Poodlefish Girl said you can always wear the blazer and leave the trousers. Turn left after hours.
How do you know I don't do that already?
That's what you tune in for Kevin's stream for, to see after the show.
Exactly. I do Normal Island after hours.
Leo has said, quick break from work, and I come into that statement from Reform Friends of Genocide. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they don't just call themselves that, Friends of Genocide rather than Friends of Israel, because the whole purpose is to support the genocidal acts of the Israeli government. That's what they're doing.
Well, Plants is telling me there isn't even a train network in Leeds, which was the joke. Whereas we do have a tram network, and my rant was very serious.
We've got First Bus as our.
Find QVC Owl has said, important to note that they are pro-Zionist because it's in their imperialist interest to be pro-Israel. It serves as an attack dog nation in a vital area.
Yeah, like Israel is a franchise outpost of the American empire, and so is Britain.
But also, because they have no principles, they will just support Israel because it will help them get into power. These guys do not believe in anything. They just want power. So, of course, they're going to cut for Israel because Israel will help them get there.
And we talked about Wes Streeting and Emily Thornberry backpedaling, and Jacqueline said, did they backpedal as a result of a crisis of conscience or as a result of worrying that they could lose their seats in the next general election?
Well, I mean, in Wes Streeting's case, it was because the Mandelson documents revealed that he had concerns over whether Israel might have been committing genocide, which shows his defence of Israel in public was dishonest.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Yes, it does. Poodlefish has also said, although we've touched on this, unfortunately nobody voting for reform cares that Kenyon is as thick as two short planks and has horrendous regressive opinions.
Literally what I said, just pointing out that a racist doesn't care, the racists don't care. You know?
Yeah, it won't make a difference. But I do think, though, I still really want him to be on question time, because I think if he does such a bad job, it might just make sure that Andy Burnham wins. Like, he might lose some voters. Because
what's
it could be
interesting,
an absolute travesty, but I think, Callum, you're right. They're probably going to pull him out somehow.
Well, Judge Buzzy said this guy's supposed to be on question time tomorrow. Made this point on Helena's stream, but guarantee he will be switched last minute with Zia because he's on every week. But what's interesting about the lineup tomorrow is they've actually got a full panel of candidates in the election, and as much as we don't trust the BBC, I can't. Oh, well, no, I can actually, but I was going to say I can't see them allowing Reform to put Zia in as a last-minute switch.
Yeah,
given every other guest is a candidate, I feel like that they would accept Rob being pulled, because obviously they can't stop that. But I think if Reform said we want to send Zia instead, I think the BBC would say, well, no, this is a candidate show. You either send your candidate or we can't platform you.
Well, what they should do is, like, if he doesn't turn up, have a spiritual replacement in just a massive pile of shit.
Well, do you remember when they replaced? Was it David Cameron they replaced with a block of ice? Was that Channel 4 that did that?
4. Well, have I got news for you?
Change,
have I got news for you?
In a debate about the climate.
I think have I got news for you? Replaced John Prescott with a tub of lard. When he didn't turn up one time. Yeah.
I didn't know that actually happened. That sounds like...
So it was...
They should put a cardboard cutout of Carol Vorderman or something.
Well, no, because then oh yeah, for Carol Vorderman's arsehole.
Justice for Carol.
I love the way that in that interview he immediately tried to jump to say, no, I didn't make sexual comments about Carol Vorderman. It wasn't me, but somebody else did, and I thought he was bang on the money.
I thought the answer was really funny. It's like, well, hold on, I didn't say those words. I agree with it. I just didn't say it. Like,
it's. Listen, we have to laugh because it's so fucking awful.
It is funny because it's so stupid.
Well, it's funny because a lot of the political dialogue for several days was around the sphincter of a former TV show host.
It's just awful.
Which is just weird.
If he's 30, then he would have been in his mid-20s when he said all that stuff. If he's really changed his mind, then we need to. He needs to say
way
that
older
and why.
than 30. I'm sure people said in the chat that he was like 46.
Oh, is he?
Which means he was like 30 years old when he said it, so he's not exactly a young kid.
Oh, we'll find out. It's 40. No, it's 41. So I mean, 41. Brexit was 10 years ago, so it'd have been in his early 30s.
Also, he was right. It was right in the Leave campaign did peddle nationalist pish.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that he pretended not to know what that meant.
Old self was more correct.
Yeah.
Well, those comments sparked rumours that he had actually not voted Leave, which is why he was like, hand on heart, I voted Reform. Tomorrow night is going to be very interesting. In fact, I imagine Helena will be doing a stream.
Oh, you two together, right?
Yeah, we usually do.
Well.
It depends if they get. Actually, last week we were the recipients of some good luck because the privatisation success story that is every train in the country being late meant that even though Navarra overran, the train was late as well, so she was able to get on her train back to Nottingham or wherever it is. And we did a show last week as well. Yeah. So it depends whether she gets back on time.
Yeah.
Of course, she does Thursdays.
I wonder which major international journalist she'll be interviewing today. I don't know, who knows?
Me?
Yes.
Did your head just grow a little bit there, Curtis?
My head grew a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
I was fucking waiting for that.
Jamie Ellis has said, the best summation of class in modern Britain that I've read is A Nation of Shopkeepers by Dan Evans.
I really want to read that book. Really want to read it. It's on my list.
The class argument's an interesting one because we're talking about the classist nature of it all, and actually, some people try to argue that, and they might be right that there's Bob Kenyon, but I also think that Reform UK trying to make out that he represents working class people also is classist, because he is a fucking stereotype. He is the racist, thick fucking twat.
That was what I was saying earlier.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. When trying to say, you can't, those that are attacking Robert Kenyon is being classist. No, that in of itself is classist, because people are not attacking him because they think he's working class. People are attacking him because he's a dumbass.
Yeah.
And what they're basically saying to people is working class people are stupid. You hear it, you always get it on GB News, where they do their classist thing all the time, which is like, whoa, people who are concerned about immigration, why are you attacking working class people? Who says that it's just working class people who are concerned about immigration?
Yeah.
Why? What about all the working class people who are not concerned about it? What about all the middle class racism? You don't talk about that, do you?
Yeah. On the Henry Novak, Jeremy's also said, I'm so sick of hearing that they have a right to be angry. I'm working class. I grew up on a council estate, but I'm not a racist, and I know better, and they should too.
Exactly.
And actually, Farage's comment, I'm convinced were incitement, and the way that he conducted himself at Prime Minister's questions today as well was absolutely appalling. Darren Smith said, just look for when Farage was last seen in Parliament. He's missed more than 77 votes in Parliament.
I don't think, was he not even in the original debate about Henry? I heard that, but I don't want to.
I'm not sure.
To be fair,
point me.
Not voting is different than missing the vote. So there are some MPs who will not vote very regularly, not because they don't attend or give a shit, but because often the only two options you have are voting for the government's piece of legislation or the opposition's amendment.
Oh yeah, no, he's just missed them. He
Exactly, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, in his case, it does mean that, but there are people like Jeremy Corbyn who probably has a relatively similar voting frequency.
I don't know, because Corbyn will often abstain, and an abstention is still counted as a as a result. So, but yes, no, it's important to say that is a case of him simply not being there. And I thought your point earlier was interesting. About what's he going to do if he becomes prime minister.
Exactly. Like, that's a really intense job. Like, he doesn't turn up for Parliament. He doesn't do constituency work, and he doesn't do parliamentary work. What the fuck does he do?
I had a conversation with someone the other day who was convinced that when the time comes, if the time comes, that Farage won't be the prime minister if Reform UK win. They reckon that he'll step down and let Richard Tice do the job, because it's not his. It's not his thing, is it? It's not, actually working full time isn't something.
I also feel like if you're willing to put yourself leader of about 4 million different parties, you have to want to be prime minister. I think he wants to be prime minister, but if he becomes prime minister, he'll have a shock by, oh my god, I have to do fuck loads of work.
But he wants the power.
The work.
He wants the power. He just doesn't want the work, does he?
I think he'll outsource the work, though, wouldn't
he? Yeah, probably. But there's still a lot that goes into it. Like, you still have to do cabinet and parliament and things,
Yeah.
Look, ironically, doing PMQs once a week would be him turning up to Parliament more than he does now.
Well, he hasn't even been able to do that, has he? But listen, it's 9 o'clock, so we're going to call it. But yeah, thank you both very much.
Cool.
It's been interesting.
Thank you so much, Callum. Thank you for your fantastic comments. Of course, thank you to everyone who tuned in. And Kevin, thank you so much for joining me again.
Well, thank you for inviting me again. It's been a delicious pleasure.
Delicious pleasure. I mean, I really enjoyed tonight because we both got a bit ranty, but it was good.
And some of it had a microphone attached to it as well. Not all of it.
If people watch your show, they wouldn't have known that actually.
Yeah,
they would have Kevin, get yourself a microphone.
It's so annoying. I was on a great flow, and then and then you had to point out the fucking thing. Oh, I'm such a boomer. Oh, it's embarrassing.
Such a boomer. Why did that happen, by the way? Like, what's wrong with your mic situation?
I'd mute. Clearly, it must be different for the OBS as to this room, because I'd muted my microphone because I wanted to have my fan on for a second because I was fucking sweating. So whilst you were exactly. Well, that's the annoying thing is I turned it off so that it wouldn't affect your audio, and you were the only cunt who could hear it. Fucking hell.
You've been streaming for so long. You're a rookie error. You need to know that stuff.
I know. It's honestly, chat. Mea culpa.
Again, thank you, Kevin. Also, as you know, if you want to support our work, then please go to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. Become a YouTube member for 99p. If you have no money, don't worry. Please like the stream. Become a subscriber, hit the notification bell, share our work, tell people about us. We're trying to grow with no money, no billionaire backers. Of course, also remember that we're on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv/turnleftmedia. Remember, we go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 p.m. You've been watching Normal Islands Live. I'm Curtis Daly. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.
Good show. Good.
Oh.
Are we raising into Kev?
Yeah.
I just worked out my audio must have been really shit at your end because it was coming through my fucking camera mic. That's why. Yeah, because I've just checked. I assumed because I didn't even fucking remember that my camera had a microphone on it, and I've just checked my settings and you go to audio and it was on the fucking Logitech cams. Blah 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 blah.
I think this happens every time, you know, Kev.
Yeah, I think it happens every time because the audio.
Is my audio slightly better now?
Sorry.
Is my audio any? Is my audio better now?
Tap your microphone and we'll tell you. But it's now coming through that, so
yeah. Fucking
hell. For years you've been using your webcam camera.
Well, okay, yeah.
That's actually fucking hilarious.
Well, I didn't know. Well, I am a boomer. I am. Well, I said I was a fucking boomer, right? Jesus.
Well, hear it again. You're a boomer.
Yeah, that is true.
Right, I need to go have dinner and make some clips, and just pull whatever you need, Kevin.
Will do.
And actually,
I'd quite like to pull you, lad. Hey.
Do you want to collab with us on it as well?
What? Sorry.
On our clip.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Send me a link and I'll
No. I mean, like, we upload clips, but you want to upload that to your own channel as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to send us a collab as well?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, I was going to do that anyway. Yeah. Oh, cool. That's the very least I could do, considering someone else is editing it. Yeah. saving me the whole
giant penis on
12. Well, I'm already on there, so
yeah. We'll dub your audio. It'll all be in Spanish or something.
we'll dub the audio like, this is a trial. Like 5 seconds.
Or
is a trial.
Just make it really weird and have it like in a kind of Jamaican accent.
I haven't got the skills for that.
It would be amazing.
Just run it through. It
was so racist.
Adobe podcast or something.
How ironically racist if it was a white man in a black accent ranting about anti-black racism in Britain.
No, we'll pay an actor. We'll pay an actor to dub it for you. So we're actually giving somebody.
Yeah, get. There's got to be like a Jamaican on like fucking on what you call it, Cameo or something that'll do it for you.
Fiverr.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it in Farage.
Yeah, Farage will happily endorse terrorist organisations on Cameo.
I'll fucking do it.
Yeah.
It's cheap, isn't it? Right, I'm going to eat dinner. Fantastic show. Also,
shout out to Kev's streamers as well.
Yes, shout out to Kev's streamers. Are you possibly able to do this Friday?
Yeah, I can do it. I'm available.
You know you want to.
Yeah.
Cool. All right then.
You made that. You made that so sexual, Cal. That was unnecessary.
It was a bit, wasn't it? Cool.
That's just me normally.
I'll see you in a bit, everyone.
All right, thanks everyone. I'll see you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Ta-ra, Arabi. Oh, that's so annoying. That's by the way, hello Raiders. You know who I am. You just heard me swearing a lot. When I first went on this show, I was like, don't swear. And now I just, fucking swear. Who cares? That's so annoying that I was fucking muted. That's so annoying. But at least, the one bizarre thing of having it come through my fucking camera mic is that at least the audio was recorded, even in shit form, somewhere. Because that's a really good rant, chat. I'll post it on my channel tomorrow because fuck it. I mean, I don't even know if they're going to have it up tonight. But and you'll get to hear the full rant. It was really good. I was on a flow, making solid banger points, banger after banger after banger. Anyway. Yeah, everyone go and follow Turn Left, obviously. They're fucking brilliant. Yeah. I think I'm going to go now and think about what I've done. God! Fucking boomed out, man. Live on main. Ugh. I was on form though, to be fair. That is good. Anyway, yeah, so I'll be back. I've got quite a busy schedule. I've got quite a busy schedule. I've got tomorrow. We've got Question Time, the Makersfield candidate special, with or without a Reform candidate, who knows. And then I might be talking to Dylan Burns live from Ukraine. Who randomly popped up in my Twitter DMs and was like, oh, we haven't talked in ages, do you want to chat? So that could be quite interesting. And that'll be at like fucking 1 a.m. or something. And then Friday I've got what do you call it? Normal Island again. And I might do a happy hour before it. But I'll have to talk to Christy, I'm not sure. So stay tuned for quite a lot of possibly interesting content. Maybe. Anyway. Let's see who we can send everyone over to. By the way, thank you to everyone who gave money in the form of bits and subs and all that shite. Obviously I was speaking with people, so, you know. Hello there, Dope Stick and Andrew Carter and various people. I'm not going to bother going through all of them because I'll miss some and I don't want to leave people out. So I'll leave you all out. Yeah, okay, YouTube. Who's going on the YouTubes? Customization. Redirect. The surfs are going on YouTube, so I'll send you over there. Enjoy. And who is going Twitch side? Who's someone we haven't been to in a while? Oh, that's quite cool. We've got Francesca Fiorentini interviewing Sam Cedar. Or should I say, oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare. So go and check that out. And I will see you all tomorrow. Yeah? Is that okay? It's going to have to be okay. Okay? Free Palestine. Free yourself. Free your mind. Yeah? No pass around.
Bird.